Direct News TV. September 21, 2023. Russia-Ukraine War Live News, Zelenskyy at White House for Biden meeting. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has arrived at the White House to meet U.S. President Joe Biden after meeting U.S. officials at the Pentagon. Poland's Prime Minister announces his country will no longer supply Ukraine with weapons at a time of high tensions between the two countries over grain imports. Far-right protest over Ukraine spending grows in the U.S. Despite Zelenskyy's charm offensive in Washington, D.C., on Thursday, the question of whether the U.S. Congress will approve more aid to Ukraine remains murky, as Republicans on the far right express frustration with government spending. Yesterday at a classified briefing over Ukraine, it became clear that America is being asked to fund an indefinite conflict with unlimited resources, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance wrote on Twitter. Enough is enough. To these and future requests, my colleagues and I say, no. He included a letter protesting increased aid, signed by 28 Republicans. One of those signatories, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, later wrote on social media he opposed any effort to hold the federal government hostage for Ukraine funding. Russia alone stands in the way of peace, Biden. Biden also denounced any attempts by Russia to seek weapons from Iran or North Korea. Russia alone stands in the way of peace. It could end this today. Instead, Russia is seeking more weapons from Iran and North Korea that would violate multiple UN Security Council resolutions that Moscow itself voted to put in place, he said. Russian President Vladimir Putin met earlier this month in a rare visit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, fueling fears that a weapons transfer deal could be close at hand. U.S. President Biden speaks at roundtable with Zelenskyy. Biden reprised themes he touched upon at the UN General Debate earlier this week, reiterating his commitment to supporting Ukraine despite domestic opposition from Republicans. The entire world has a stake in making sure that no nation, no aggressor, is allowed to take a neighbor's territory by force. The American people will never waver in their commitment to those values, he said. That's why, together with our allies and partners, we will continue to provide security assistance to support Ukraine's progress in reclaiming its territory. And we will continue to provide humanitarian aid to help millions of innocents suffering from Russia's aggression. He also highlighted reports of Ukrainian children being kidnapped to Russia. What they've done to your children is just criminal. U.S. House Minority Leader reaffirms pledge to stand behind Ukraine. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader in the U.S. House of Representatives, has reaffirmed his commitment to support Ukraine as it attempts to repel Russian forces, despite increasing Republican pressure in the chamber to forego funding for the war. This is a struggle between Ukraine and Russia, he said in his weekly briefing. But it is also a struggle on the global stage between democracy and autocracy, between freedom and tyranny, between truth and propaganda, between good and evil. And it's important for us to stand behind Ukraine until victory is won. Zelenskyy must overcome U.S. war fatigue to secure aid, correspondent. As Zelenskyy and Biden meet at the White House, Al Jazeera's Kimberly Hockett warns a lot is riding on their joint speech later in the afternoon. The timing of this visit is not particularly good for the Ukrainian leader, she said, explaining that the U.S. is in the middle of intense negotiations over government spending. Zelenskyy, meanwhile, hopes to secure $24 billion in aid for his war-torn country as part of the U.S. budget. The fact is that really a lot of lawmakers are focused on domestic priorities right now, Hockett continued. He is asking for funding sort of far away from the priorities of ordinary Americans is one problem. The other problem, she added, is war fatigue among the American public. So as he sort of wraps up his day with the speech at the American Archives, he's really going to have to make the case that this, the Ukraine war, is a worthy cause. Biden tells Zelenskyy he will ensure world stands with Ukraine. Biden told Ukraine's leader at the White House that he would ensure the world stands with you against Russia's invasion. Zelenskyy told Biden in the Oval Office that the Ukrainian people greatly appreciate the assistance provided by the United States to combat Russian terror, AFP reported. The Wall Street Journal's White House correspondent, Ken Thomas, said the Ukrainian president was looking forward to discussing further aid in air defense. Zelenskyy shares video of Pentagon meeting. Zelenskyy has shared a video of his meeting with U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, General Mark Milley, chair of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff, and other officials at the Pentagon earlier today. We discussed the deliveries of artillery systems and long-range capabilities, as well as strengthening air defense, he said on X. My name is Kingsley. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to be notified whenever we post. You won't regret it.